came out of Mount Fuji is a cyborg.
Cyborg?
It is made out of the space metal. You could call it a Mechagodzilla.
Damn Godzilla. You're mistaken if you think your powers are a match for Mechagodzilla.
People, LP 2000 right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to another edition of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Collect All Monsters, and I'm back again with another awesome X Plus figure review. Oh my god, it's been a minute since I've done an X Plus figure review. The last one I did was, of course, the X Plus 25cm Monster Zero / King Ghidorah 2019 that I did earlier this year. And that was a great figure. And so now we're back with another awesome, great figure from X Plus. One I initially was not going to get. More on that later. So you already clicked the title, you know exactly what we're covering here or who we're covering here. So let's dive headfirst into this awesome X Plus Favorite Sculptors Line figure review. And today we'll take a look at the X Plus Favorite Sculptors Line 30cm standard edition of everybody's favorite cosmic monster or bionic monster, the 1974 Mechagodzilla. From his epic debut appearance in one of my most favorite Godzilla films of all time, 1974's Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster, aka Godzilla vs. the Bionic Monster, also known as Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. And as you can see, I have the beautiful figure here in all his glory. Oh my god, this thing is amazing. Yes, it is. Even though at first I wasn't going to get it. But again, I'll talk more about that momentarily. I'm glad I changed my mind because this thing is so amazing. So you know how we do things around here. Let's get up close and personal with the packaging and the box before we get into the awesome figure itself. And here's a picture of the box with the picture of the actual figure on the front of the box. Not exactly a silhouette like we would normally see on some figures from X Plus. Or the packaging from X Plus, I should say. You know, the actual figure, you know, with the Japanese text of the 30cm scale. Favorite Sculptors Line, of course, the Japanese text or logo of the awesome title of the film, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Yeah, so great artwork on the box. Again, no different than the Sakai's or a few of the 30cm. You know me, I am loving the artwork on some of these boxes. But again, spacing has become an issue. So what I've been doing as of late, I've been cutting off the artwork, which I've seen a few collectors do over the years, quite frankly. When they accumulate so many boxes or packaging, but they don't want to get rid of it. So what they do is, what I've been doing is cut off the artwork on pretty much every single box and just trash the plastic housing that's in the box and the majority of the box and just keep the awesome artwork. And as you can see here, this is awesome artwork that is worth keeping. And it's worth noting, as a matter of fact, that if you look at the upper left-hand corner of the box where it says X Plus Garage Tour, on this box in particular, it says the actual model kit that this figure is based off of, the Monster Maker 28. You see it in English text and you see in Japanese text, which is really, really cool because a lot of times when I see some reviewers talk about the X Plus Favorite Sculptors Line or certain pieces from the X Plus Favorite Sculptors Line, they sometimes kind of omit that this figure came from an original kit or original model resin model kit, I should say. It's not their fault, but sometimes they omit that information, you know. So it's nice that X Plus is really putting that on the box so people would know, yes, this is an awesome figure, but it originally came from an awesome resin model kit. And as I look back on certain of the other boxes that I've gotten from the Favorite Sculptors line, namely, of course, the Favorite Sculptors line Ebra set of Godzilla vs. Ebra, and that's an awesome box with awesome artwork on that box as well. But again, if you look at the upper left-hand corner where it says S Plus Garage Toy, you see some Japanese jargon right there. That is actually the Japanese text of the original kit that kit, at least that figure was based off of. That was from Kaiju Freaks, right? Or how about the 30cm flying Hedra that recently just came out from the Favorite Sculptors line? Again, cool artwork on the box. You know what I'm saying? No different than the Ebra set and Mechagodzilla. But again, in the upper left-hand corner, you see some small legal jargon or some small Japanese text, and that's actually Resin Chef, because that figure of Hedra came from an original Resin Chef kit of Hedra. You know what I'm saying? So, and as I've looked back at other boxes, it is right there, like that small Japanese text, and it took me up till now to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? But it's nice that S Plus did that. So again, hopefully moving forward, that would motivate more people or reviewers that review these figures from the S Plus Favorite Sculptors line, give honor to the original kit that the figure comes from. You know what I'm saying? But again, the artwork is amazing. But it's not about the artwork, it's about the awesome figure. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the X Plus Favorite Sculptors line, 30cm standard edition of the 1974 Mechagodzilla. This is the standard. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't want to go for the Rick. Even though the Rick option is awesome. The Rick option came with light up in his eyes, where it has the rainbow colored light up in his eyes. No different than what they did with the 1975 Mechagodzilla a couple years ago. And I already had that figure, so I really didn't feel the need to have another one that does what that one did. So the standard was just fine for me, because originally I wasn't going to get this. Because we first saw pictures of this thing at Summer Wonder Festival in Japan last year in 2022, and that show was noteworthy because they unleashed, or at least they unveiled, in prototype form I should say, the gigantic MonsterVerse Kong, which should be coming up for release at the time of this recording sometime next month in March. So I'm looking forward to getting that. But that was showcased there for the first time at that show. And that was really the one thing that really got me buzzing the most, quite frankly. But they also showed an unpainted prototype of this version of Mechagodzilla, you know what I'm saying? Which also made a lot of people happy. But at the time, again, I have said this many times before in my most recent string of videos, that I have been really trying to narrow down what I want to add to my collection, because again, space is an issue. I'm getting less and less of it as I get more figures coming in. So I need to be more strategic with what I want to add to my collection. And prior to this guy's arrival, you know, I had the gigantic Mechagodzilla from X Plus. I got the original 30cm from X Plus. I got the Death of Real Mechagodzilla from X Plus. All 74s, mind you. That's not to mention I have a couple 30cm of the 1975 Mechagodzilla. I got a Billiken kit of the 75 Mechagodzilla. Of course, I got the Death of Real Mechagodzilla 75. So I really didn't feel the need to go after this kit, quite frankly. I just felt like I had already so many Mechagodzillas, and this one is kind of similar to the gigantic, so I really didn't feel the need to go after it. So I initially passed on it. But when people started getting it in their hands, I was like, you know what? That thing does look amazing, and I do have a certain Monster Maker 28 kit that this guy was sized up well with. More on that in the size comparisons later. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get it. So I went on Hobby Search, got it a few days later, and that's how I got my hands on the Mechagodzilla. Again, this is from Monster Maker 28, and it's based off the original kit of Mechagodzilla 74 from Monster Maker 28. The original kit came out, I want to say, 2013. And honestly, for the longest time, before I even got heavy into kits, that was really a kit I was really having my eye on. You know what I'm saying? But for so many years, because that thing came out, like I said, in 2013, that's what, 10 years at this point, right? And so many times I did see that thing come up for sale, but it was really outside of my price range, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know what? This thing looks amazing. And honestly, what really tipped me over to getting this guy, not to mention I wanted to pair it with a certain kit I have in my collection. But recently, I have been seeing this kit, the original kit of Mechagodzilla 74 from Monster Maker 28, come up for sale. Probably in reaction of this guy coming out, right? Of this figure coming out. And I've seen some people actually selling the original kit. But what the kit was going for, and that was a kit that was not built, not assembled, not painted, versus this guy that was already built and painted and assembled, all that good stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'll get more bang for my buck going for the X Plus one. And again, that's how I got my hands on this figure. So that's the backstory with the figure, with the model kit, I should say, the packaging. Oh my God, this is so great. So let's get up close and personal with this guy. The Favorite Sculptors Line, Mechagodzilla 74, the second awesome monster from the 70s to make an appearance in the Favorite Sculptors Line. Of course, you already heard Hedra. You know what I'm saying? Hedra was the first that came out late last year, I want to say. And that was the first monster from the Favorite Sculptors Line from the 70s to make it to the Favorite Sculptors Line, the flying version of Hedra. So Mechagodzilla is the second. And I'm looking forward to see what other 70s monsters make it into the Favorite Sculptors Line. Because you already know, I'm a huge fan of the 1970s Godzilla films. I'm a huge fan of the movies. I'm a huge fan of the monsters, of the stories, of the characters. So I'm looking forward to see who will be the next 70s kaiju to make it into the Favorite Sculptors Line. Could it be another version of Hedra? Could it be Gigan? Could it be Titanosaurus? Could it be King Caesar? And I'm looking forward to see who will be the next one. But considering what Hedra and now Mechagodzilla has started, we're in for some great things if they are planning to bring out other 70s kaiju into the Favorite Sculptors Line. And I've covered, again, Mechagodzilla a few times on my channel before with the original 30cm, with the gigantic blah, 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 blah. So there's not much really going on here. More so with this Mechagodzilla, you know, the colors are pretty much the same, you know, with the silver sheen on the majority of the body, with some dark shading here and there, like on the accordion like parts on the on his arms going towards his body, or the thighs going towards his lower body, or the accordion parts, light parts on like his shins, you know, whatever. So it looks really good. Looks like just the whole silver sheen and the highlights blended together on this figure really makes it stand out, you know what I'm saying? The dorsal plates in the back sculpted really well, perfectly, if you will. It does come with the tail stand, and it is needed to a certain extent, because this thing is articulated, believe it or not. So you can actually move his ankles, you know, a little bit, but the way you move them kind of will make him tip forward, or at least tip backwards. So you need the tail stand. So please keep the tail stand. Don't trash it, you know, whatever, but just keep it. But yes, it comes articulated. His arms can move, his torso can move, his head can move. The one nitpick I have with this figure, and it's a minor one, it's not a deal breaker for me, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten it, but the mouth, that's the one thing that doesn't move on this Mechagodzilla. And there are times where, when it comes to Mechagodzilla, at least the Showa one, I prefer sometimes displaying him with his mouth open like this. There are times I prefer displaying him with his mouth closed. Either way, he looks evil and sinister both ways. But I like to have that option where the jaw is articulated, where I can at least change up looks whenever I feel like it. But unfortunately, with this Mechagodzilla here from the Favorite Sculptors Line, the mouth is in a fixed position, so you can't move it, you know, whatever. But it still looks great with it partially open like that, you know what I'm saying? The eyes look really good. You know, the yellow amber eyes, you know, looks great. You know, that red thing on both sides of his head looks really good. His symbol on his arms, you know, the MG, the red MG, looks great on both sides, you know, whatever. His arms being like in that position where he's like down, like in the secret base, or in the base, in the underground base, I should say. It looks really good, you know. And also the port opens in the front of the figure. You know, you might have to take a fingernail or something sharp to pry open the port. But it does look great, you know what I'm saying, with the with that little red capsule in the middle, you know, that would deploy his chest laser thingy that sliced mountains in half. So it does look great. Again, there's not much really to go on here because, again, I covered Mechagodzilla a few times on my channel before. But really what set this thing apart than the other Mechagodzilla I have in my collection, because for the longest time, the gigantic Mechagodzilla from X Plus was my favorite Mechagodzilla in my collection, hands down. That figure is amazing. It is awesome. All that good stuff. But I have to be honest here. I have to be honest. This one kind of trumps it just a little bit. It really does. And maybe that's because I love Niwa, Monster Maker 28 sculpt so much, because he is an awesome sculptor. You've seen me cover his sculpts, or at least model kits on my channel a few times before, whether it's the Sci-Bi 84, whether it's the 1972 Gigan, you know what I'm saying? Not to mention some of the figures that have made it to the X Plus line, at least Favorite Sculptors line, you know, with Monster Maker 28 kits, you know, like the GMK set of Godzilla, Mothra, Baragon, and King Ghidorah. You know what I'm saying? The King Ghidorah didn't make it to the Favorite Sculptors line, but Baragon, Mothra, and Godzilla did. You know, the 30cm 68 Godzilla, that was a Monster Maker 28 sculpt at one point, or the 30cm Anguirus 68, that was a Monster Maker 28 sculpt at some point. So really, his sculpting of the monster, or the character, or the kaiju itself, really set this guy apart. And when you see this thing up against the Mechagodzilla, at least from my eyes, right? Again, Mechagodzilla, the gigantic, looks awesome. It looks amazing. I will take nothing away from it. But when you put this guy up against him, in my opinion, this one shines a little bit better. It does. It looks a little bit better. And I think it has to do more so with the sculpt. And I think the sculpt is better here on the Favorite Sculptors line / Monster Maker 28 kit than the Mechagodzilla. I'm not trying to say that it puts the gigantic Mechagodzilla to shame. It doesn't really do that. I wouldn't go that far. But in terms of which one I like better, I have to say this guy. And as far as the original 37 Mechagodzilla 74, and I love that figure too, and for the longest time, you know, I have had fun photographing that figure, you know, talking about that figure. But I have to say, that is the one Mechagodzilla figure that I have always had trouble taking great photos of. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a cool figure, don't get me wrong, but it's a figure that's not really super photogenic, in my opinion. And when you put that up against this one, again, this one kind of blows it out the water. It doesn't blow the gigantic out the water. It's better, but it doesn't blow the gigantic out the water. But it blows the original 30cm out the water, which shows that sometimes improvements and tweaks on a certain model kit or a figure or a character itself, sometimes it takes just those little minor tweaks to make a good sculpt into a better sculpt. And again, I think this is the overall better sculpt. You know what I'm saying? But again, from the sculpt, the paint job, oh my God, this thing is so amazing. And I'm glad that I changed my mind to get this thing at the last minute. And I'm glad I was able to do so, because there were a couple extra on Hobby Search, you know what I'm saying? And I think Awesome Collector had a couple extra on his site as well, both standards and Rick's. So if you're looking for an awesome Mechagodzilla to add to your collection, the Showa Mechagodzilla, the 74 Mechagodzilla, the absolute best version of Mechagodzilla, look no further than this guy right here, because this guy is so amazing. So that's it with the backstory, the packaging, up close and personal with this guy. I love it. I absolutely love this thing of the Favorite Sculptors line, Mechagodzilla 74, courtesy of Monster Maker 28. Oh my God, this is so amazing. So let's do a couple size comparisons before we get up out of here. And of course, you have heard me talk about Monster Maker 28 just a little bit during the course of this video. And since I have been going into the model kit thing as of late, I do have a few figures and model kits courtesy of that awesome studio, Monster Maker 28. So let's see how all those figures look with this version of Mechagodzilla that also came for the Monster Maker 28 studio in this first size comparison. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, here we are with the first size comparison, or should I say Monster Maker 28 sculpted kaiju size comparison. And oh my God, all these monsters, these different monsters from different eras, look absolutely amazing. So let's do the roll call, the official roll call from left to right, shall we? Of course, in the far left, we have the 30cm 1972 version of Gigan, again, originally a Monster Maker 28 kit. Down at the foreground, we have the 30cm 1968 Anguirus from X Plus. Again, that figure was taken from Monster Maker 28 kit. Of course, we have the Man of the Hour, the Favorite Sculptors Line 74 Mechagodzilla. Next to him, we have the 25cm GMK Godzilla as well as GMK Mothra. Awesome. Of course, we have the 30cm 1968 Gorosaurus, a figure that doesn't get talked about a lot, but daggone, I had to include him in this collection right here. And of course, finally at the foreground of him, of Gorosaurus, we have the GMK Baragon that came with the GMK Mothra in a combined set from the Favorite Sculptors line. And all these monsters look great, and the one thing they all have in common is that they were all sculpted by the awesome Newa from Monster Maker 28. And now you see why that guy is like my second most favorite sculptor of all time when it comes to kaiju collectibles or kaiju characters in general. There are times, because his sculpts are so amazing and breathtaking, that sometimes I want to bump Yuji Sakai off in my top spot of favorite sculptors and put Newa in there. But I just enjoy Sakai sculpts just a little bit more. But nothing will change the fact that Monster Maker 28 will be in my top 3 of favorite kaiju sculptors of all time when it comes to kaiju collectibles. And as you can see here, he puts a lot of work and effort and just realism into pretty much every single kaiju that he has done. The only thing I don't really like that he has done is the 1989 Godzilla that was based off the animatronic when they used for Godzilla close-up facial expressions or shots, you know, in the film. You know, he made a kit based off that animatronic. Not the full suit, but the animatronic of the 89 Godzilla. That's the only one I feel like was kind of not the best in the world, but every single one besides him, Gigan here, Mechagodzilla, the GMK Godzilla, Mothra, and Baragon, not to mention stuff that I don't have in this shot, the Side-By 84, the 68 Godzilla 30 centimeter figure. You know what I'm saying? Just everything that guy does is just golden. It is so golden, and I'm looking forward to see what else he may have cooking down the pipeline in terms of like newer sculpts. Even though the most recent one he did was the Heisei Gauss from 95, which sold out at Wonderfest a couple weeks ago, which didn't make myself and Eric Stope happy because we were gunning for that kit and it got sold out for what we understand like within like the first hour, which is understandable because that's a testament to how awesome Monster Maker 28 is. His sculpts are so sought after and they're so wanted by a lot of collectors, so it's no surprise that that thing was sold out. But hopefully he'll do a reissue of the 95 Gauss. But I also know he's working on a 72 Anguirus. So I'm looking forward to see what will be the next model kit that we will get from Monster Maker 28 or any other Monster Maker 28 kits that they will put into the X Plus Favorite Sculptors line. Either way, if it's Monster Maker 28, I'm definitely going after it. But this is a great size comparison, again, from various monsters he has sculpted over the years. And as you can see here by the attention to detail on every single monster here and every single model kit that he has done that's not here, the guys know exactly what he's doing, and it's so awesome. So now let's do one more size comparison, and I kind of talked about this or teased this earlier in the early going of the video, that one of the reasons why I got the Favorite Sculptors Line Mechagodzilla 74 here was to pair him up with a certain model kit that I have in my collection, and you know exactly where we're going with this. So let's go with the final size comparison where we see the Favorite Sculptors Line Mechagodzilla 74 up against my original Monster Maker 28 kit of the monster he fought in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla with the 1974 Godzilla. So let's go with that final size comparison or Monster Maker 28 comparison right now. Oh God, this is I'm speechless. Normally, I would come right out the gate and just flood you with my emotions and my commentary here, but I'm speechless. You have to realize, 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is one of my most favorite films of all time. It is number 5 on my top 10 favorite Godzilla films list of all time, of favorite Godzilla films. It comes in at number 5. And for the longest time, I've wanted to create the perfect setup between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla. And now, as you can see here, that perfect example, or at least that perfect size comparison, is no longer a pipe dream. It is no longer a fantasy. It is no longer wishful thinking. This is what I've wanted to make happen for the longest time. Finally, Monster Maker 28 kit versus Monster Maker 28 kit of sorts. Finally, Godzilla versus his mechanical doppelganger, his mechanical cyborg counterpart, his mechanical killer that tried to take him out in the film. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla for Monster Maker 28. Oh God, this is great. This is so great. And a lot of people have been asking, have been wondering, have been debating since they announced Mechagodzilla here in the Favorite Sculptors Line, courtesy of Monster Maker 28. Will we see the 1974 Godzilla do the exact same thing? Will we see him make it into the Favorite Sculptors Line? As you can see here, I think that's a no-brainer. I think that will happen. It's only a matter of time. Because quite frankly, by them doing Mechagodzilla, I think it would piss off so many people if they didn't put the 74 Godzilla from Monster Maker 28 into the Favorite Sculptors Line. To X Plus, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I would go ahead and make the deal with Niwa, get the sculpt, put it in the Favorite Sculptors Line, and make a lot of people happy. I know a lot of people really ordered this thing just like I did, just so they compare it with the 74 Godzilla. You know, I am fortunate and blessed enough to even have the kit, you know what I'm saying, but a lot of people don't. But I think this will happen. I think this will happen at some point, you know what I'm saying, and when it does happen, you will be just like me in hard heaven, because this thing is so amazing. Even if you put the Monster Maker 28 1975 Godzilla, which is basically the same suit as the 74, just, you know, they kind of modified the head and the face a little bit. But even that model kit, which I do have, looks great up against Godzilla, at least Mechagodzilla, I should say. You know what I'm saying? Or how about the radioactive resin model kit of the Imposter Godzilla 74, which essentially was Mechagodzilla, courtesy of the awesome Burly Vang. Even he looks great up against Mechagodzilla here. But this shot right here of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, this is what I wanted to make happen for the longest time. So now, all thing we need now is a 30cm King Caesar. That's all we need. And then that's it. We'll have the full lineup. But until then, this will tie me over. So that is it with all the size comparisons with the Monster Maker 28 comparisons of various other monsters that Monster Maker 28 has done. And now we have the King of the Monsters, you know, size comparison here. And as you can see here, this is perfect. This is so perfect. Oh my God, it's so amazing. So that's it with all the size comparisons. So let's go with the final commentary portion of the video with my final thoughts of the X Plus Favorite Sculptors Line Standard Edition of the 1974 Mechagodzilla. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the X Plus 30cm Favorite Sculptors Line of the Standard Edition 1974 Mechagodzilla from its epic appearance from 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. 10 out of 10. This thing is amazing. It is flawless. It is all those great things. Oh my God, yes. The only little issue I have with it, again, is the fact that you can't really articulate the jaw. That's a minor nitpicky issue. Not really an issue if you really think about it, at least not for me. But it would have been nice to have that. But still, it does look great with the jaw being partially open on the head like that. It still looks great. It takes away nothing from the figure whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And as it stands right now, this is my favorite Mechagodzilla in my collection. I would have never thought, after I got my hands on the gigantic Mechagodzilla a couple years ago, that something would top that. But I have to say, as far as sculpt and a little bit of paint app wise, this thing does top it. You know what I'm saying? And especially for years when I had the 30cm Mechagodzilla 74, the original 30cm Mechagodzilla 74. You know, again, I enjoyed that figure for its time, but for some reason I could not get a proper photograph of that figure, or at least not too many of them, I should say. There were some good photographs to be taken with that figure, sure, but I had to work my behind off just to get that perfect shot, you know what I'm saying? It's not super photogenic, is what I'm trying to say, with that original 30cm Mechagodzilla. But this guy right here, super photogenic. It's kind of impossible to take a bad shot with this figure, you know what I'm saying? And that's a testament to how awesome the figure is. So whether you have this figure standing alone, or if you have him paired up with other figures from S Plus of 1970s villainous kaiju, whether it's Megalon, Hedra, Gigan, or Titanosaurus, he looks great up against them. Or how about the mini alien that came with the Death for Real 1974 Mechagodzilla? You know, the alien, you know, on top of the computer apparatus. You know, that figure, the little mini figure, looks great up against Mechagodzilla here. Or how about, you know, the one that I've really been wanting to make for the longest time? This guy up against the 1974 Godzilla, courtesy of Monster Maker 28, you know what I'm saying, or the 75, you know, whatever. Either way, this thing looks great, whether you stand him alone or whether you pair him with other figures. Again, it's a great figure. 10 out of 10. And again, this is confirmation at some point we will get the 1974 Godzilla from Monster Maker 28 to make it into the Favorite Sculptors Line. Again, if S Plus does not do that, it will piss off a lot of people. And I don't think they want to do that. So again, I think this is firm confirmation that the 1974 Godzilla figure is coming into the Favorite Sculptors Line, or model kit is coming into the Favorite Sculptors Line. It's not a question of if anymore, it's a question of when, but only time will tell with that. Now, before we get up out of here, let's talk about the awesome bionic cosmic monster from 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the awesome Mechagodzilla. And even though I'm a huge King Ghidorah fan, you know that, I will say that Mechagodzilla is like my second favorite villain of all time in the Godzilla franchise. The Showa version, let's get that straight right now. The Showa version, 74 and 75, is, in my opinion, the best version of Mechagodzilla. Nothing against the 93, nothing against Kiryu, nothing against the Monsterverse 1 or the Mechagodzilla City from the anime trilogy. I'm sorry. That just makes me laugh for some reason. But in my opinion, the cream of the crop, the best of the best, the granddaddy of them all, the one that started it all, in my opinion, is the best. The 74 and 75. Now, if you pin me down, as I've said many times before, I will probably pick 75 in terms of look. Right? Like, I just love the look better on the 75 Mechagodzilla because it's darker. It has more of a battle damage look. He kind of looks more sinister than the 74, if that's even possible. Because the 74 already looked evil and sinister. But they made him just a little bit more brutal looking in 75, which is why I enjoy the look better of the 75 Mechagodzilla. But in terms of performance, if we're talking about sheer performance, in my opinion, the 1974 Mechagodzilla is the most brutal version of the bionic monster that is out there right now, or has ever been out there. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why that I love that movie so much, and is why it is on my top 10 of favorite Godzilla films list, and it made it into the top 5. You know what I'm saying? Because there are so many great moments in that film. There's too many to choose from, you know what I'm saying? And why I prefer it over Terror Mechagodzilla, even though I love Terror Mechagodzilla so much. But there's a certain reason why I love 74 so much. But again, there's so many moments to choose from. Where we see Godzilla appear and we see him go back to his wicked ways. Because you know me, I love Godzilla as a villain. So to see the superhero version of Godzilla do some damage, that was really a cool thing to see, right? Or how about the scene where he fights Anguirus in a kind of like homage to Godzilla Raised Again? You know, seeing Godzilla brutally beat Anguirus to the point that even Anguirus couldn't continue to fight. And this is the same Anguirus that got his head split open by Gigan a couple years earlier, got beat down by King Ghidorah, but Anguirus kept coming. But after a few minutes with Mechagodzilla, Anguirus like, you know what, I'm gone. And we didn't see him anymore for the remainder of the Showa era. And that's a testament to how awesome Mechagodzilla is. Or how about the moment where we see the two Godzillas go at it in the oil refinery? As I said many times before, my most favorite moment of all time that makes me mark out to this day. Or how about the storyline involving, you know, the King Caesar statue? Where they're trying to get, you know, the aliens are trying to get their hands on the statue, and that whole storyline that leads up to King Caesar appearing. The whole storyline was really, really great. Or how about the final battle between King Caesar, Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla? One of the best fights ever. But the common denominator out of all those great moments of the film is Mechagodzilla. The way they built this thing up in this film, in my opinion, was absolutely masterful. Again, the way he beat down Anguirus to the point that even Anguirus didn't want to continue to fight. It's not because he couldn't, it's because he just didn't want to. And that has never happened before with Anguirus. So again, that was a great way to build up Mechagodzilla. Well, how about when he fights Godzilla for the first time and when he fully reveals himself? Mechagodzilla really didn't do that much to thwart Godzilla. It took just a few finger missile blasts and him blasting his death rays from his eyes to make Godzilla just go back and drive him away and make him scream. You know what I'm saying? Very few monsters have had that impact on Godzilla by doing very minimal. And what was so scary about that situation when Mechagodzilla fully reveals himself? Okay, let's say Mechagodzilla did not malfunction. You know what I'm saying? And Godzilla does not have backup in King Caesar. And he does not have that newfound power, that magnetic power that he would get later on in the film. To be honest, Mechagodzilla could have killed Godzilla at that moment. If he didn't malfunction, if Mechagodzilla does not malfunction in that moment, there's no guarantee Godzilla would have survived that. You know what I'm saying? And then what's also so crazy is that Mechagodzilla did so minimal in that one scene when he saw the original Godzilla, the real Godzilla, that we really didn't get an idea of what this thing could really do. But at the very end, when he unleashes his eye beams, his rainbow death eye beams, the chest laser, the finger missiles, the toe missiles, that little missile apparatus that he got in his mouth, the fact he could turn his head around and spin his head around so fast to create a temporary force field. He can fly. He has those special missiles that can pierce Godzilla and remain embedded inside his body. There were so many things this thing could do. And it took almost everything they had between King Caesar and Godzilla to really topple Mechagodzilla. They barely got by him. They barely got by him because that final fight, you could say, that was all Mechagodzilla. That was all Mechagodzilla. And that is how you properly build up a villain, especially a villain that bears Godzilla's name. And I have to say, they did the perfect job with Mechagodzilla and how they built him up as an awesome villain. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they made him a hero in 93, or at least the babyface in 93, or in the Millennium films. But give me the awesome evil alien version from the Showa period. That, again, in my opinion, is the best version of Mechagodzilla. And he's one of the best reasons, or the best reasons, that Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is such an awesome film. Trust me when I say that. But until then, this is an awesome, awesome figure. So if you missed out on a gigantic, because again, there are some similarities between the gigantic Mechagodzilla and this Favorite Sculptors Line Mechagodzilla. You know what I'm saying? But if you missed out on a gigantic and you want a super cool version of Mechagodzilla in your collection, and if you really want something to pair up with the eventual 1974 Godzilla that you know X Plus is going to do. You know they're going to do that at some point. So really, jump on Buy right now, or jump on Hobby Search, or go to Awesome Collector, whatever you have to do, whether it's the Rick or the Standard, get this guy in your collection ASAP. Yes, yes, yes. So that pretty much concludes my review of the X Plus 30cm Standard Edition of the Favorite Sculptors Line 1974 Mechagodzilla. From its epic appearance from the awesome, campy, just amazing film from 1974, Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster, or Godzilla vs. the Bionic Monster, better known as Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. You have any questions, comment down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We definitely go from there. Yes, once again, I'm so happy to have this guy in my collection because, again, I initially passed on this guy. I was not going to get it. I felt like I was content with the Mechagodzillas I had in my collection. Boy, was I wrong. And I'm so glad that I was able to get this guy into my collection. And again, if you're on the fence about this guy, get off this fence. This thing is so great. It is so great when you pair it with other monsters. It is so great when you have him by himself. He is so super photogenic. He is amazing. So again, if you're a fan of the movie or the fan of the kaiju itself, you owe it to yourself to go after this figure. There's no questions about that. Now, in regards to the next video, let's stay in the Showa period. Let's talk about the last monster to make an appearance, or the last villain to make an appearance in the 1960s era of Godzilla films. You know exactly what I'm talking about. In the next video, we will be talking about the 35cm Asu Kobo kit of Gamera from All Monsters Attack, also known as Godzilla's Revenge. And I can't wait to get that video out for y'all, so please stay tuned for that. That will be the next video on Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews. But again, this Godzilla right here, this is Mechagodzilla right here, amazing, 10 out of 10, perfect. It is so awesome. So if you're on the fence, get off that fence and get your butt online and get this guy in your collection. Yes, yes, yes. So ladies and gentlemen, I finally give to you the X Plus 30cm Standard Edition of the Favorite Sculptors Line, everybody's favorite evil alien cosmic bionic monster, 1974 Mechagodzilla. Yes, yes, yes. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on this Figure Move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.